If you were to relay such a message, you would like to choose a conducive environment, but make sure it's not a place where they could harm themselves or harm you if you're unable to de-escalate the situation on time. Or Hi everybody, welcome back to Step Forward TV. My name is Deborah. How are you doing today? And if you're new here, thank you for joining to watch this video, and for all my returning subscribers, thank you as well for being part of this. Thank you for the feedback that I received from my previous video relating to the path or the route to studying social work in the UK. So I'm here to answer some of your questions. A few people reached out to me asking questions around how long the application process will take. Some also asked about the likely interview questions that they might be asked if the application is successful. And I do hope and pray that it will be a successful application. So today, without wasting our time, the first question that came to mind among all the questions that I was able to put together, I think I was able to put together about 7, 8, 9 questions. So the first question that came to mind is, why do you want to study social work? Another similar question could be, tell us or talk us through your personal statement, because when you're making your application, remember you need to write a personal statement. So they might ask you to talk to them about what you have put in your personal statement, which is, you don't have to say everything word for word unless you have it in front of you, but at least know some key points that you have discussed in the personal statement. Such as, how am I going to answer if I'm the one? I'm just going to start by first thanking them for the opportunity or to be called for the interview. Because remember, there will be thousands of applications. So for you to have been called for an interview, you've done a great job with your application. And if you do need help with your application, do reach out to me via my email address, which will be in the description box below. I would start by, after thanking them, then I would go into talking about my experience. For instance, if you have any previous experience, probably you've worked in any field. For instance, you might want to link that into what interests you, what was it that you think are the challenges, and because of that you want to leave the role or come into social work. But trust me, don't mention anything negative. Try and talk about your strength. Like, yes, probably if you've worked in, let's say, public relations or mental health before, or in hospital settings, whatever field that you've worked, even if it's in law field, in medical line, whatever field that you've worked, for instance, or even in sales that you want to come into social work. Remember, anybody can study social work from any different profession as long as you are passionate about it. And so I think that's very important. So what motivates you? Talk about your motivation from your previous experience, or from previous study, or from personal life experience. You know, many people have different personal life experiences, and that's why many of us are here or are still standing. Your personal experiences, and now you've been able to overcome them. You might want to talk about that. For instance, if you're from a dysfunctional family and you've seen your parents arguing, having difficult issues all the time, people having to come to help them to resolve their family situation or their differences. What have you learned from it? And what are the key points? Do you want to help other families in the same situation? I think that's going to be a yes. So you've been able to learn through all these experiences. How did it affect you, or how has it affected you as a member of that family, and how were you able to overcome the problem that you experienced? You know, so and that's part of your strength. You're strong, and you've been able to overcome it, probably seeking counseling, having social work. Probably you've been in care yourself. You're a caregiver. If you don't understand what caregiver means those who were at some point in their lives removed from their families, probably living with foster parents or living in children home, and they had other people to care for them. So but eventually you were able to come out of such system, and eventually you also wanted to study social worker now, or social work now. So you might want to talk about that. That's what motivates you to study social work. I hope that's clear. Also, probably you've been in an abusive relationship as well. You know how difficult it was. You understood how it impacted you, how it impacted people around you, and you also wanted to help others in such situations. You might want to talk about that. Maybe that's why you wanted to study social work, coupled with probably other skills that you have learned at work, or coupled with your academic backgrounds, and you think you want to change into social work, or you want to further into social work. So talk about that. And two, what are the challenges that you think you might experience while studying social work? So what are the challenges? It's not a bread and butter course. I used to think it was a bread and butter, but later I realized it's not. So you might want to talk about the likely challenges that you might come across. One could be time issue. How are you going to be able to manage your time being a student? For instance, if you're a parent, if you're also a child to other parents who would also need you, who would need your attention at home to help, and other things. So you might want to talk about how you're going to balance that. One could be having a good time management skill, because even so, you are talking about the problem, you're talking about how you're going to overcome it. So probably you have good time management skills and you think that would help you during the course of the program. Don't forget to talk about it. You might want to talk about your organizational skill. If you're a very organized person, that's a plus for you. So talk about it, and how has being organized helped you in life. Talk about that as well. How has it helped you to overcome different challenging situations? Talk about that. And study time. You need to talk about how you're going to balance, because in this course you're going to be doing a lot of studies on your own. So it's not a secondary school or college kind of a study anymore. You are studying at a higher level. Probably you're studying at a BSc level or master's level. It's going to be very intense. So you're going to need a lot of study time to yourself every week. So are you going to be studying at the library, online, and all of that? So talk about the time that you'll be setting apart for yourself, maybe evenings, or you're an early morning learner. Talk about that. And yes, so another question that comes to mind, apart from the one I've just discussed, which is, what are the challenges that you think you might experience while studying the program? How are you going to be getting there as well? Do you drive? Is the university you're choosing, is it closer to your home? You might want to talk about that as well. Is it closer to home? Is that why you have chosen it? Does it have good transport system? Is there good transport system around the place? You might want to talk about that. You're going to be living in the hostel to make life easier for you. What are the plans that you have? Honestly, there's no wrong right or wrong answer. As long as you're able to defend why you want to study in that particular location, the challenges you might be experiencing. So yeah, don't let me digress. Question 3, tell me the skills that you have, or the skills that you already acquired, that has prepared you to study social work. So what are your previous skills like? So everything is still kind of linking. If you have good leadership skill, this is where that comes in. So you might want to talk about your leadership skills, and you believe, or you think that would be useful if you are being given the chance to study social work, because here you're going to be leading a lot of people, probably children, families, leading them aright, telling them the right thing to do, or not even telling them, because you are working with them to help them resolve their problem. You are not dictating to them. So remember, leaders don't say you go. Leader says, let's go, let's do this, we can do this, motivating their followers. So you are also motivating individuals that you're going to be working with to resolving their problems, helping them to find a way to resolve whatever problems they have, or maintaining the level where they are, depending on the role or who you are working with. Good time management skill, leadership skill, ability to resolve problem, and listening to others. Good listening skills, very, very important. You need good listening skill. You have to be a good listener to be a good social worker. Not even in social work, in any field of study, whether nursing, medicine, whatever you are studying, or even law, accounting, you still need to have good listening skills to avoid errors, in order not to misunderstand people as well. So don't be judgmental. That's even a good skill as well. You are a person probably who is not judgmental. You like to hear from the left, right, and then try to resolve issues, not judging people. And that's what social work is all about. So another question you might be asked is, tell me a time where you have worked with multidisciplinary agency to resolve a particular problem. Have you ever worked with multidisciplinary team to resolve a problem? Whether you work as a care assistant, support worker, as a PR officer, HR, you're going to be working with different agencies. So the same thing applies to social work. It doesn't matter what your background is. Every day we meet people, we talk to people, unless you talk to yourself alone. So you are still doing some multi-agency work. Probably in your previous role, you are used to liaising with different teams to probably, even if it's just sales, as a sales as well, salesperson, you're talking to different people, meeting different people all the time, reporting back to your team, reporting back to your line manager or regional whoever you are reporting to. They are still part of multidisciplinary team. So you might want to bring that on board. Writing your report on time, getting back to people on time, relaying information to those that needed to know about it at the right time, not withholding information that needed to be passed across on time. That's in terms of report writing, communication, problem solving, being proactive, all of that. So you might want to talk about that here. But in social work, for instance, you're going to be working with people like nurses, doctors, physiotherapists, occupational therapists, speech and language therapists, police, for instance, probation officer, depending on the type of or the type of social worker that you want to become. Mental health, children and family, adult, disability team, learning disability, and all of that. So you're still going to be working with different multi-agency team. So excuse me. So you might want to talk about few of these, mention them, and how you think they'll be working. So describe a time where you've had to convey a difficult message to somebody. So you might want to set an example of, for instance, if somebody dies and you have to go and talk to someone or a member of the family who's having health issue, going through challenging situation, probably they are in hospital or probably they are in care home, and you have to go and pass such message across to them. How would you do it? So here is my answer. If I am to go and convey a difficult message to somebody, it depends on the type of message, but if it's difficult and it's hard, it's something that could make such a person to break down, I might consider going with somebody. That is one. Two, I could also consider setting the meeting at a conducive environment for the person or for the receiver of the message. Instead of having the message in their home, instead of having the meeting in their home, you might want to choose in the park where they won't be able to hurt themselves, for instance, or in a restaurant, depending on where the person has agreed to. You don't dictate, you allow the person to choose the right location for the meeting. But you might just suggest that, okay, would you like it to be in your living room? Do you want it to be in the morning, afternoon? So find out from the person where they would like to meet with you. And also you consider going with somebody. Ensure that the area is also free of objects which they might use to hurt themselves. For instance, if the person is self-harm and you have to convey such a difficult conversation. So it all depends really And also be mindful of the tone of your voice, be mindful of your posture. Answer that depending on the situation, but make sure that you talk about communication skills. Listening as well, listen to what the person has to say after you've passed the message across. It doesn't have to be the person's voice, it could be their action. Listen to their action, try and check how does the person respond. Do you think the person might be shocked? So, and if you've probably experienced one where you have to convey a difficult conversation, you might want to share how you were able to convey that message successfully. That no harm, nothing happened while you were conveying the message. Another question could be, how do you cope with stress? Point to the fact that this is a very challenging course that you're going into. So, how do you deal with stress? One, do you have any particular activities that you enjoy doing, that you partake in, such as running, gym, going to the gym, for instance, morning jog, or afternoon or evening, walking your dog, whatever that it is that relieves you of stress or relieve you of stress, you might want to talk about that. Fresh air, cup of tea, whatever you think would be useful for you to manage that stress. So you might want to discuss that. We have different coping mechanisms, but for instance, my own coping mechanism would just be shut down computer, whatever I'm doing, go away. Sometimes I'm away from the social media for weeks. Sometimes I'm away from social media for days. So it depends on what works for you. Social media takes a great deal of our time sometimes. So that's part of my own coping mechanism. Sometimes going out with my family to different places, visiting different places, talking to friends, families, and all of that could be good. Could be good stress management for you, as it is for me. Depends on what is good for you. So share it. Don't be too shy. Don't be too rigid not to share your experience. So share it. How do you deal with time management? That's a very good one. I don't want this video to be long, but quite a lot are coming to my mind as I'm even talking to you about this. Another question they might ask you is, what is your understanding of discrimination? In my own case, I might want to talk about myself as a person of color. I'm Black. I'm used to working with different people in different teams. I've worked with white, brown, Black people, different people successfully. And I don't see colors. What I see is human being like me. And I see different people with different lovely personalities every day. Like I've mentioned earlier on as well, I don't believe anyone is difficult. The situations they find themselves might make them difficult, or their low understanding of what I'm talking about. And it's all about me being able to explain myself. So what's the understanding of discrimination? Yet not discriminating against them because they are Black or white or brown, not discriminating due to their race or disability. I've worked with many people with disability. Trust me, I love them. Because they give me motivation. Like, if this person could do this, I can do better. And if they need support, I'm also there to support them. Talk about that you're not discriminating against anyone. LGBTQ community, are you discriminating against them? No, the Bible says we shouldn't judge. Yes, we might have our different beliefs, but I'm not judging anyone. I leave the judgment to so let me leave that. That's the topic for another day as well. And my role is just to make sure that I support whoever that needed my support the way they would love to be supported, and not minding their race, their belief, their disability. There are 9 protected characteristics which the law states that we shouldn't discriminate against. So you might want to study that and talk about it. Check the Equality Act as well. So what does Equality Act say? Is what are the 9 protected characteristics? You might want to talk about that. That will help you to even nail that aspect of discrimination. So we are not to discriminate against them, probably because they're married or they are in partnership. You don't discriminate. So talk about whatever you understand by that. And another question is, how do you plan to make a difference as a social worker? We've seen a lot of stories about social workers abusing their service users, misusing power, and all of that. So how do you want to make a difference? I've experienced I've experienced different negative things in life, and I don't want someone else to experience some of the negativities that I've experienced in life. And that's why, I'm doing what I'm doing, and that's why I'm sharing the information that I have, the knowledge that I have with you also. So talk about your experience. What do you want to bring into that field? Are you someone who is very patient? Whatever you are rubbing, I don't care, doesn't stick on me. Just share what will make you different. But someone, for instance, somebody rubbing an insult on you is not something that you should agree to. And you see, that's my own coping mechanism, because I've experienced some negativities in life, and as a result, they don't make meanings to me anymore. I'd rather avoid you rather than staying there and continue in such an abusive relationship. I'd rather leave. I'd rather shut the door, but that doesn't mean I hate you. Do you get? So that's just my own way of saying no to and habits, whatever you think will make you different. You might want to talk about the news that you have seen as well, which you think they are horrible, and you believe that if you're given the opportunity, you would do better, but how would you do better? So share. I didn't plan for this last question, it just came to my mind, but I hope that you have been able to understand some of the likely questions that you would be asked during your interview. And as you're answering every questions, don't forget to say thank you. So like, yeah, I'm done. Yeah, so if you've said this, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Thank you for asking. And that's it. That's if you remember to say. It's not compulsory, but I think it shows that you have good manners as well. And I hope this helps you to nail the interview. I wish you all the very best in your interview. I hope this answered. Trust me, I didn't plan this. It was even in the last 1 hour that I just drafted all the questions as they were coming to my mind when I received some of the questions. And I believe this is the best way to do it, so that others would be able to learn from this as well. Best of luck. Any question, please reach out to me. Remember, this is an unplanned video, so I might not be able to answer it the way I should have, but I believe at least that you've learned 1 or 2 things. I wish you all the very best. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, comment, let me know how you feel about this, and if you have further suggestions for other people as well, please leave it in the comment section. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and Jesus loves you. Bye.